Hello and welcome to the Halloween Inbetween Podcast. I'm your usual
The,
host,
the Freddy Krueger
Freddy Krueger.
podcast.
I'm joined here today by Tony Tones at RT. How are you, Danny?
Uh, hello, I'm not wearing an outfit, but you
You're
can't
definitely
tell.
wearing it
So
right now. We just can't see it on camera.
yeah, yeah. I'm wearing
I
I
don't
got my
know if I can
skeleton
wear
on.
headphones with this thing on, so I can't actually hear you. So I might have to take this off. Let me try and put them on. Hello. Actually, you can't
It
hear
looks ridiculous.
me. Got my claw.
Can you actually breathe? That's my question.
Yeah, there's a hole here. Like,
Yeah, I know, but
mm.
okay,
There's holes for the eyes, the mouth, and the ears.
okay,
It does
okay.
get. I went to a Halloween party this weekend, and I wore this for about 2 minutes, and I'm like, right, I'm taking this mask off. You get the gist of the costume, you know.
You, yeah, you got the jumper though. Like I feel like that kind of like adds a lot.
Yeah, I kept like the jumper and the hat on, and I was like, you
Yeah,
get the rest, right?
yeah,
How well
yeah.
can you hear
But
me
you
through the
keep
mic? I don't know how well I'm coming up through the
It's
mask.
like you're swimming through a mask.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to take the mask off, but
Do you
there we
keep the
go.
claw on though? The glove.
Uh, I'm taking it off. I'm bold. I'm fucking bold. I remember this was a pain in the ass to get off, so it's like gets hot and it starts to stick
I
to your face.
yeah, yeah. What she's struggling to give me
Oh
heebie-jeebies.
god, that looks terrifying. I don't think I can
You
really. I
didn't want
can't
to
really put this on like properly.
You
The problem is the hat
didn't want
won't.
to go as Miller then with this hat.
I was an undercover
Probably
cop.
expense.
I was undercover cop the
Yeah.
whole time. But yeah,
Yeah, it looks claustrophobic with like getting it on and off.
it looks really good though. I'm really happy
Yeah,
with
yeah.
like the quality of it. I
The
think I got
quality's
it.
great.
I got it from the same place I got my. I got it through Amazon, but I got it through the like
At the
the
store,
same
like
store
Amazon.
on Amazon. It was called like
Yeah.
Rubies, like because it's like official merchandise sort
Okay.
of thing.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so I thought it was like really good quality. And yeah, if you went for like a
Yeah.
photo shoot and didn't have to wear it for more than, I can't imagine wearing that for a long time because yeah, I'm a claustrophobic person. I would be going nuts with that sort of thing on.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's the Halloween podcast. Because I've been a big fan of classic horror stuff this year and the previous year. I've watched like every Nightmare on Elm Street film. Behind me is a screenshot from Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street film. That's the one where I kind of like that film because a lot of them are like Freddy's going into people's dreams and killing them, but Dream Warriors is about these kids doing like research on sleep and then fighting Freddy in their dreams and being like, I'm badass and I have knives and I'm going to fight Freddy. It's kind of like a lot goofier and sillier than the rest of the films,
Yeah, yeah.
um, which is why I like it.
There's more crazy stuff, isn't there? That one, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, there's also some scenes I'm like where like this guy's being puppeted by Freddy. I think it's maybe one of the posters, and he like it's basically like the tendons of his skin are like the tendons like out of his
Oh,
body are like the
yeah,
strings, and it's like
yeah,
horrifying. It's like horrific like
yeah,
body horror stuff,
yeah.
um, which is like the first Nightmare on Elm Street film is probably one of the bloodiest. The one with Johnny Depp. Um, you see a
Oh,
lot
yeah,
of
yeah,
you
yeah,
see,
yeah.
like he gets turned into like a basically a blender of like blood spilling everywhere. Um, but you see like so many actors that you recognize that later go on to become big stars in Hollywood. Like you have, Paul Rudd is in a Halloween film, or like,
Oh,
or
oh,
introducing Joseph Gordon-Levitt in it's like Halloween
yeah, yeah.
5 or 6 or something.
It's
Um,
insane. You gotta start somewhere though.
Yeah, but to mention about this Ruby stuff I got. That's where I got my Star Trek uniform from last year. If you saw that,
Yeah.
so yeah, they seem pretty good. I literally bought the Halloween stuff in like July because I saw it online. And I'm like, oh, I have to get this. This is so cool.
Yeah, you have to get it.
The only
Yeah.
problem is I've had my niece staying with us for a long time, and I'm like, if she sees this, it's gonna give her nightmares forever. So I have to hide. I'm constantly having to hide it away in places she can't get into, so she doesn't accidentally see it. Because
You
like
just hide it in the cupboard.
that's what I've been doing in the wardrobe. But when I had to put it on, like imagine seeing this, like.
I don't know. I thought it looked really cool. But it is Friday for a
You're
very
not
small,
2 years old, though,
very small person.
unfortunately.
No.
I would love to like.
I
I think that'd
remember
be really cool if I
before
didn't have
myself.
a bunch of nieces that came around to my house. I would love to just have this mounted somewhere on like a headrest or
Yeah,
something. That'd be really cool.
that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I really want I've been looking but I can't see anyone that sells it. You know like the in Warhammer like the mechanical skulls that like hover next to people. They're called servo skulls. I really want one of those in
Right.
real life,
Servo
but no one sells
skulls.
them.
Let me have a
Yeah.
look. Servo skulls. Warhammer.
Well, there's 3 printed files I could find,
Oh yeah,
but
yeah. They remind me of
some
the
great
Lost
art.
Souls from Doom,
Yeah.
and then in the new re-release, they've made like mechanical versions of them.
Just when you don't have when you're not allowed to have AI because of a previous war, you just get people's brains and permanent just use them as helpful workers.
Mm,
Good old Mechanicus.
that's it, right? Should we get into other than my Halloween news? You've had some Lego news you wanted to talk about.
Yes, it came today. I already said Lego news, sure. Um, yeah, I guess so. I ordered this in April. I want to say it's like
Oh, like
the
Pharrell
only okay.
Williams now.
Yeah, you did a little bit. So I think I have to kind of explain the bricklink thing. So there's like you can kind of see that it says like in series 2. There's like the second set that they've kind of done in this season, I suppose. But there's like 5 sets that you could buy like all 5 of them, but like there's like 5 sets you could choose from. But at most they only produce 30,000 of them. So like
Okay.
if they run out, you can no longer buy it directly from Lego. But it's a fan design with their own instructions. But then Lego then sources the parts and puts into a box for them and prints stickers for them as well.
Yeah,
But
because you
yeah, and it
said,
then takes
have you ever
6
heard
months to
of
come.
Bricklink? To which I said
Yes.
no. But you were telling me it
No,
was
it's not really.
essentially it's another one of these services where people put together other Lego sets to build their own
Yeah.
Lego sets. And then you
So
said
before
Lego has
Lego,
purchased it.
yeah, before Lego bought them, like what they did was like they would just buy, like there'd be set of instructions. They're like sort of the same voting process. The parts in the instructions they would like buy them together and like, put it in a box. But now Lego does that, which is like obviously that's what Lego does for the normal products. So it's as close to a normal product there is while being designed and the instructions being made by the designer. Whereas like
Right.
Lego Ideas, which is official Lego sets, is like the ideas are submitted by fan designers, but then it goes internal. Then designers at Lego then sort it out and make it a proper product. So like potentially that it could be like a slightly worse fitting or not as well tested. Or technically there is no internal Lego testing with these. That's like it's entirely fan made. So it's not. So in that sense, it's not Lego, but yeah, it's kind of crazy though because this one sold out. Like all 30,000 people signed up and bought 30,000 of them within like a couple of hours. So I got in there. I got in there like as soon as it dropped basically, and ordered it in
Right.
April. I just find it crazy that some of these go absolutely bananas. They refuse to like make something like it. Or like just go make it like an official product or something. That's kind of what I would
Well,
want.
the
Like just
thing
make it available for everyone.
The thing I think of, because you say they have it in limited qualities, I wonder if it's whether Lego is trying to appeal to the broadest audience possible. And there may be a bigger audience than what is here with the hardcore audience of people who want to build, unique Lego
Oh
sets.
sure,
But it might be
oh
if
sure, but
Lego
30,000 is a
themselves,
lot.
in the grand scheme of Lego, not really. Um, like if Lego
No,
expanded
but
this and like
that
offered this on store shelves, I'm not saying they
but
wouldn't,
they've
but it might not be as well selling as their other sets.
oh sure, but I'm saying the minimum is 30,000. We don't know what the upper limit is. Like they've set it as
Mm.
30,000. All we know is that it's sold out within a couple of hours to 30,000. Like maybe if it's 50,000, it'd also sell out in like 3 hours. I don't know.
But I think it's safe to
I just find
say
it very
you're
low.
you are more on the Lego enthusiast side of stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if something sells out, like to me, it's like if you have a bus that is packed, you clearly need a bigger service because you have too many people for that service. If you're selling out very quickly, like you
But
clearly
what I'm
have room to
saying is
expand.
if you have a bus that is packed and then Lego goes, okay, we're going to buy 100 buses and then only another bus is
Okay,
full,
sure.
then they've wasted a lot of money. Is what I'm
But
trying to
I
say.
think they have a lot of products that they don't sell a lot of. That they try
Yeah.
and they don't know. But these like they know because they're pre-orders. Like they haven't. But when you order them, they've not made them yet. Like they're still getting stuff ready logistics wise to put it into a box. So like in a way, it's kind of best case scenario because they know how many things they need to make.
Mm.
But just why not if it goes over like have another round where it's like okay, it immediately sold out. There's still like another 30,000. I don't know how profitable this is for them, but they have decided to do it, so I don't really know.
Mm.
I assume it must be profitable, or why the hell did they do it?
Yeah.
You know,
All right.
I'm really happy with this. I've always wanted a train station and like it's like a modular train station, like for your Lego City, which is perfect.
Well, because you have like I think we've shown it before, but you've got like a whole city built up on your desks that
Yeah,
you maintain.
yeah. It's like a small corner. Like eventually, I wanted to like actually be able to expand it. Like I've got lots of like it's like three sections at this point, but I've got a main like corner or a desk set up. Yeah. One day it'll be bigger, and I could actually have a train set running around, and then this would be like how it connects to the city.
They do like Lego trains, like electric train stuff.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
The train track is like a standard Lego piece,
Mm.
and yeah, they have like battery and like motor like pack sort of thing, like connected, and then like Bluetooth controllers. They do sell trains.
Yeah, I
But yeah,
can. I
that
did,
that was meant to come November, and it came early, so I guess it came the spooky month.
yeah, the spooky haunted train. You were pointing out that there was the rat with the piece of cheese down on the train line.
Yeah,
Oh my god, that rat almost died.
so,
And you were like, "How did that rat get
that's
down there?"
a
And
massive piece of cheese.
it's got to be this woman right here because she is clearly about to drop that like crumpet off the edge of the
Yeah.
balcony. That's definitely how that cheese got down there.
It's not the first time she dropped something, it won't be the last.
Yeah, I think this looks
No, I
pretty
think it's
cool, and I think it's cool that
yeah, it's a great looking old fashioned train
this
station
thing
set.
existed because I was looking on there and there was some other sets, and then people were selling them on the website. So there's like a
Yeah.
marketplace on this website where people can
So that
buy
was the main oh it still
resell
is, but that
previous
wasn't the main thing.
sets.
It's like yeah, you sell either used pieces or used sets. So that was like it's like a
Right.
marketplace. It's like eBay but Lego. And I guess they're still doing that. It still exists. Like it's like now people are receiving these sets and now
Well,
selling
Lego
them
gets
immediately.
some cuts of the second-hand sales now that they've bought this
I
company.
don't I assume there's some cuts on like using the marketplace, but I don't know how much they actually get. I don't think there's that much, to be
I
honest.
don't think any marketplace website could exist without taking some sort of cut.
Yeah, I think there is some cuts, but I don't know how much it is. There must be a service fee. But yeah, to be able to list all that and like hold a database and have people do stuff, yeah, they need to. It costs money.
Because you've used a different website where you bought like literally just blueprints on how to build
Just to
something,
that's
whereas this is
yes,
more
that's
so
really
they give you
breakable.
parts and sets in order to build like a whole. This is more wholesale.
Yeah, this is more the physical side of it. Yeah,
Right. Okay.
There's also Brick Owl where you can like buy like used sets and pieces and things.
No, generally, like every time you talk to me about Lego, there's just so much stuff I don't. I like as someone who doesn't do
It,
Lego. It's just like a new world to
yeah,
me. I've never seen any
it
of this.
is. There's a lot of like subsections and like subgenres like specific fans of things as well. There's a big
You
you can go
was
down a big rabbit hole of
you were saying
Lego.
as well they built software to build Lego sets in
Oh
on like a
yes, stud.
computer.
They're calling okay. Hang on, I just want to say they're calling it Studio 2.0 at this point. It used to be
Right.
called Stud.io, which I thought was brilliant. So I'm going to keep
Hmm.
calling it that. It's Stud.io. But yeah, I've got it, I've actually got it installed right now. It's on my I've got a link on my desktop, a shortcut on my desktop. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's basically just like if you want to design a set and then like
And
then make instructions from it, you need to be able to like take rendered images of it, right? And then like
hmm.
show the steps incrementing, like if that's what this is designed for.
Well, because
And
they
it also
added
like
a
keeps track of the parts for you.
they added like a custom Lego creator thing to Lego Builder's Journey, so you could like, obviously it's not as
Hmm.
usable as this for like 3D modeling
No,
and creating your own sets, but
but you
in
could
that
still,
game mode you
yeah.
could make really cool looking creations, but have them ray traced, like
Yeah,
real Lego.
imagine, yeah. Imagine that, but without the ray tracing, or you can get ray trace renders that takes a while to render.
Right.
Um, I don't know if they're properly ray traced, but these are actually like pulling like the IDs and like the correct colors like from the store effectively. Like so if a part exists, it will be in the database.
Mm.
So like it is like using real pieces that actually exist from the database point of view.
Do you want to talk about
Yeah,
some? Oh, go on. Sorry.
no, just quickly. I didn't realize that Stud.io was from Bricklink. I just downloaded it and go, oh, okay. I didn't realize
Mm.
it was a Bricklink software.
Yeah, it looked pretty powerful stuff to create Lego
Yeah,
stuff. Do you want to
almost everyone uses
talk about
this.
some
Yeah,
games and not games I've been playing?
yeah, the not games.
So this week I have been playing Steam Next Fest. I think we've finished all of our videos. With just the roguelike games I've been playing just came out, and then I think in a couple of days my favorite games that I played from the Next Fest will be coming out as a separate video this time, not as a highlight one. So this time for the Steam Next Fest, all my favorite games. We're just going to do a full tangerine on those games specifically for that video rather than cutting it up and doing it as like a highlight thing and see how that goes.
Yep.
So my favorite games were While Waiting, Windblown, and Hyperbeat. Definitely check out those games. I've been playing a very spooky Power Wash update. We have the Shrek DLC, but we also actually have a Halloween update, which I've also now played. I think it was just one map. It's like cleaning like a castle and like a witch's hut. I played that yesterday. I've been playing Catherine Classic. I don't know if I've talked about Catherine Classic, but I've pretty much decided that I've had to put Catherine Classic on hold because the puzzles are so insanely hard that I can't complete them anymore. I don't know if I've talked about this yet. Yes, there's timed ice puddles, and I'm like, I absolutely love this the persona ass like social aspect of Catherine, but like I can't do these block puzzles anymore. Like because I have so on Steam, Tony, there's Catherine Classic, which is more like the original version of the game with some updates for the PC that came out in 2019. Atlas also released a different version of Catherine called Catherine. What was it called again? Full Body, I think it was called. So Catherine Full Body was like, but it's a console exclusive. I think it's only on the PS4 and maybe the PS Vita. And then,
Well, to emulate it.
but that version has way more characters, completely new features, and it even has a mode that lets you entirely skip puzzles. There's a mode that lets you just straight up skip. They were like, okay, we realized that the puzzles in this game are insanely hard and stop people from playing the game. Let's make a mode where you can entirely skip puzzles. I would use that mode because I hate fucking doing all these block puzzles. But that doesn't exist in the classic version, and there's no mod that allows you to do that either. So I'm kind of stuck. I think I have to like legitimately have to give up on Catherine Classic.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Okay.
Atlas, I've also been playing the demo for Metaphor Refantasio's demo. And my immediate vibe from this is like, this feels like if Atlas made a Final Fantasy game. Like, that's my immediate vibe from it. It is so,
Yeah.
like, weirdly like a mix mash of the two, like a classic Final Fantasy game with a Persona game. Um,
Like in terms of mechanics as well as like the
Yeah,
story.
there's all well in terms of like the fantasy universe, but also there's like a job-based system where you can
Oh, okay.
basically you can change your characters to be like warriors or wizards or heal like and you can change them on the fly. You're not like set in stone to different things, which is like
Yeah.
the class system that Final Fantasy does.
Yeah.
At,
Yeah.
yeah, it's fantasy universe stuff. Um, and what else was I going to say? Oh, there's also this weird meta thing going on. So when you first start the game, it doesn't ask you to name your character, and it asks you to give your name of the player playing the game, and then it asks you to name your character. And then also, the monsters you fight in this game are called humans. And I'm like, what the hell is going on in this game? Like, there's something because, like, so you know, like in our world,
Okay.
we would have like Lord of the Rings as a fantasy book, and we would read about their world. The main
Yeah.
character in this game has a fantasy book, and inside is our world. So we are the
Right. Okay.
fantasy world. So there's something like weird.
Interesting.
Atlas is doing some weird meta stuff in this game, and I'm excited to see how it goes. But
Yeah.
I've played. How long have I played for the demo? I didn't finish it, but I don't think it's very long. Um, I say it's not very long in terms of like a actual Atlas game. Um, let me pull up Steam. Metaphor. I've played it
This is
for
just
2.3
this is just a
hours.
demo. Okay, this is the
Yeah,
demo though.
but I think the demo is
It's quite a
like
long demo.
10 hours long, maybe at most, sort of thing.
Oh, okay, really? Okay,
Well, it depends how, like,
interesting.
it depends if you do like side content. Oh, yeah. But, by the way, I've started my collection of Chinese FMV games, as you can see
Oh
here,
God.
ready to deep dive into
You've
that whole rabbit. I like going down rabbit holes, and Chinese FMV games are like a massive rabbit hole. I keep seeing them, and I'm like, where do these games keep coming from? Because they're all made by different companies. There's not like one company that makes them all. They're all like their own different companies, and I'm wondering, are they actually different companies, or is it like the same company under different names? I'm gonna have to explore this even more. Um,
Yeah, I can see it going to either way. Either like it's one company with different names, or like success of one is like, oh, we can do that.
but I've been playing a game called Spookware, which is basically spooky WarioWare. But it has this whole like narrative thing in between the like mini games about you going around and exploring. I've played it for about an hour and a half. Um, I would say I'm kind of mixed on this one at the moment. I do think there is some really cool. Like I loved the chapter one where you essentially go to high school and you have to basically um, form the school band together, and then all the mini games you do are like a rhythm game on the bongos because you're the bongo player in this band randomly
Oh,
that you've just
okay,
signed
right.
up to.
The most important instrumental player.
Yeah, I've heard some people say that it was planned to have more chapters as it goes along, and they were going to be released on itch.io, and then the development just completely stopped. And I think there was a disagreement between
Oh,
like
okay.
the developers and Dread XP. There's been some sort of breakdown there where the developers are like, "We want to make more of this," and then Dread XP might be like, "No, we don't want you to do that." I don't 100% know what's going on with Spookware, but it's been pretty good from what I've played. I feel like sometimes the in between sections between the WarioWare stuff are a bit long. I think maybe there should maybe be a more condensed version. I'm not sure on that one. I have been playing Call of Duty Black Ops 6, my first ever Black Ops game.
Yeah, that's
And
crazy that I
also
saw you playing that.
and also my first Call of Duty game that I've played it in probably the last, I want to say 15 years maybe. The last Call of Duty game
That long?
the last Call of Duty game I really played was Modern Warfare 2. When did that come
The
out?
original.
The original Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah.
2009. So that is like 15 years ago.
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah.
But I've been playing the campaign, and I got to say, it's been pretty decent so far. The campaign, at least.
Yeah, I think people like the campaign for this one, right? Can't actually
Yeah,
remember
it feels a
what
lot
people
more
said about it.
reserved than like most Call of Duty campaign. Well, most Call of Duty campaigns are
Yeah.
like, oh, and then you're gonna go here and you're gonna blow up the entire world, and it's huge
Well,
explosions, and it's
there's a
like
terrorist gonna blow up the world. Yeah.
so far, like there's been missions and they've been like heavily like stealth based, or that you have the option to go in stealth or go loud. And like I did like an entire mission just fully in stealth, and it completely changed how I played the mission, sort of thing, which I thought was really
Oh, that's
cool.
cool.
And there's like
Yeah.
there's also real world events. So like one of the missions I did was I needed to go and take a photo of this guy's retinas in order to break into a vault. And it was an actual Bill Clinton rally. Like they had giant photos of Bill Clinton. It's set in like the 90s in like
Yeah.
the Kuwait war and stuff like that. And there's some like corrupt government agency stuff going on. It's been pretty interesting so far. My only issues with it so far is downloading Call of Duty in 2024 is fucking confusing. So I'm downloading it on Game Pass. I then have to download something called Call of Duty, which is like a standalone app, and then it's like a launcher where you launch your Call of Duty games from. It's then trying to get me to download Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 at the same time, which I'm like, because because it's like you can download the multiplayer, you can download the single player, and each one of those adds like different download amounts, which is like good
Yeah.
that you could download more or less.
Yeah, I guess that's good, but the way that it makes it more difficult to actually get to.
But then I'm like, okay, so I launch up this launcher and then I click on Black Ops and it's like, hang on. So then I have to load into this other screen and then it loads me into Black Ops 6 and it's like, wait a minute, you need to download an update. So then it restarts and then I have to go all the way back to the main Call of Duty screen, go back onto Black Ops, go back onto a single player campaign and then go back into it. And they're also like streaming textures from the cloud, so I need to be connected online, and people are having server issues on day one. So if the servers were down for Call of Duty multiplayer, you could not play the single player,
That's so
which is
silly.
kind of nuts. Yeah. I've also been playing Balatro in Dave the Diver because, of course, they added actual Balatro to Dave. Let me talk about this quickly because I downloaded footage. I recorded footage of this, but I'm not actually going to make a tangerine that's on Balatro and Dave the Diver because it is just Balatro and Dave the Diver pretty much. The way they cut it down was so in Dave the Diver you have the Sea People's Village, and then you have Junak who does like gambling mini games where you can gamble for the Sea Village people's currency. And essentially what they did, they kind of set up like Gwent, where you go and you face individual villagers and then they give you a card for beating them, and then you go and face. It's essentially like a really condensed version of Balatro. So you basically play one small blind, one big blind, and then one boss blind, and then that's the end of like the challenge. And then once you've unlocked all of, because every time you defeat somebody, you get a new card added to the card pool of jokers. So there's only jokers in this. There is no tarot cards or anything like that, because it's super because a lot. I think it makes sense though because of how it's basically 3 rounds for the.
Oh, okay.
It's 3 rounds for the card winning missions, and then like the main game you can go and play against Junak is 9 rounds. So it's
okay, right.
3 of 3, each with a boss blind.
Yeah.
But for me, I was like, I'm a gold stake Balatro player, so I'm just gonna buy all the tempo cards and just basically just buy like what jokers you buy in this is completely changed up because there's no point buying scale. There isn't many scaling jokers, but like it makes way more sense to just try and buy as many immediate power as possible. It's quite easy. Like I did literally fail on my first mission because I thought I had a straight when I didn't. So even I'm like super rusty and can fail. But after that, I pretty much didn't lose a game. But it was still really fun. I love that there's almost the entirety of Balatro inside Dave the Diver. That's fucking so cool, in my opinion.
Did they recreate it, or did they actually use bits of the code to do
Well,
it?
Balatro is about 60 megabytes big, so they could have just literally dropped Balatro. Well, the thing is, they have a custom UI. So, like, one thing that was really annoying me playing this is there's no option to speed up So when I play Balatro, I play on like I think it's like ×4 speed or something. So just go. So I've played it so much that I play on the fastest speed. I'm playing this on Dave the Diver, and I'm like, I feel like I'm playing in slow motion right now. My brain's been on ×4 speed, and now I'm suddenly playing at normal speed. But no, it's definitely like custom built to work inside of Dave the Diver. There's definitely some custom engineering that's gone on in here. And then there's also like each unique Dave the Diver character is dressed up as a different Joker, and they have like their own unique boss blinds. And yeah, it's really cool. It's really good.
Dave the Diver Gwen edition.
Yeah. Dave the Diver. And then basically, once you've got all the cards, you go to Junak, you face him, and then that completes like the quest. And then you can go back to Junak at any point, and you can, because here's a bunch of games you can bet on, because you get this Sea People currency. I think you meet the Sea People in like Chapter 2 or Chapter 3 of the game. So you probably, if you're a new player, you will need to play a little bit in order to unlock the Sea People, because there is certain stuff that will be like, this only appears in Chapter 5, this only appears in Chapter 2 or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But once you get to the Sea People village, which is pretty early on in Dave the Diver, you'll be able to basically unlock this and start playing. I just had to wait around until like, because I didn't. So there's free DLC for this, which is like Godzilla, and then there's also Dredge DLC, and I was like, oh, I haven't claimed this, I added it to my account, because this is what games have been doing recently, where they'll do a free update, but they'll release it as like a free DLC, and then they were like, oh, you can choose to claim this. So when I launched the game, it was like, Godzilla's attacking, there's weird creatures in the mist. Oh, by the way, here's 50 different things that are happening in Dave the Diver. I was like, oh shit, I just want to get to Balatro. So I just ignored everything and was like, no, I'm going to play Balatro. So yeah, that's what I've been doing, and it's really good. If you've played Balatro, you will love how quaint this is, and if you haven't played Balatro, this is like the perfect condensed version of Balatro, which will immediately get you hooked on the game. It is so good. Please play Balatro. It is really, really good.
I thought a lot of people have played Balatro. And how many sales have they had?
Over 1 million, I know for sure.
Yeah.
I was reading a Twitter thread today where the local thunk, the creator of Balatro, was saying, oh, I said to my publisher PlaySnack that I was going to make 120 Jokers for Balatro, and then they accidentally said to me in a call, they said 150 Jokers, and instead of correcting them, I just made another 30 Jokers. So I was like, oh, I guess I do have to make 150 Jokers, and he showed like a list of the Jokers he made, and I was like, some of these are like some of my favorite Jokers in the game. Like, I can't believe that these would exist. A lot of people were replying to him saying, didn't you say 200 Jokers? You need to make another 50 to go into the game.
Yeah, I had 200.
It's cool to see Dave the Diver's getting like these smaller updates. We'll talk about later in the show, because there's also MX Toon, which is another indie game that I'm not familiar with, and then Potioncraft has also got like its own like mushroom side mission inside Dave the Diver.
That's
and then
I play more of that.
Balatro is getting a bunch more cosmetic updates. So we had the Friends of Jimbo, where we had like Vampire Survivors and Dave the Diver and Among Us, and what was the other one? The Witcher. And then we're having another one of those, which we'll talk about later in the show. Then not games, Tony. Here we go. So I watched Doom 2005 with Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and I was so fucking confused that Dwayne The Rock Johnson wasn't the main character in that. I'm so used to seeing modern day Dwayne The Rock Johnson and being like, oh, he's gonna be this super charismatic like star of the film, and I'm like, Dwayne The Rock Johnson is like a fucking unlikable asshole in that film. And I'm like, wait a minute, Carl Urban is the main character of Doom 2005? What's going on?
What is the plot of Doom 2005?
So basically, it came out the year after Doom 3 came out, so it's very Doom 3.
Oh,
So
okay.
you have UNC soldiers go into basically there's an underground research facility where they're doing like genetic engineering on like they call it an extra chromosome. So you have like an extra chromosome, and then you become like this superhuman that heals all diseases, and then
Okay.
basically they start like injecting that into people, and it starts turning them into demons. Basically, it's like
So
they send in this soldier
right,
team in
okay.
order to go and find out what's going on, and that's like the plot of Doom
So it's the demon
2005.
version of Resident Evil then.
I was watching it, I was like, this is giving me like flashbacks to the Resident Evil films. It is so similar to the
Yeah,
Resident
yeah,
Evil films.
yeah.
And they also came
Okay.
out in like the early 2000s, so it's like right
Yeah.
around that time as well. They even have like an entire section of the film that is in first person, which I think was really cool at the
What?
time. Yeah, there's like a whole section where Carl Urban gets juiced up and he's like, I'm going to go around and be the Doom guy and shoot a bunch of guys. And I was like, man, this must have been really cool at the time. But it goes on for like 5 minutes and it's like, it's super zoomed in like FOV and it's low FPS. And I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
starting to feel motion sick watching this. Like, it's
yeah.
going on a long time.
I think if you cut back to like you have like a maybe not a wide shot, like you had like a shot of like seeing demons die, and then it went back to first person, like switching back and forth. That might be better. But yeah, I have a problem with like watching other people's first person content. Eventually, gets it's too much.
But as a Doom fan, I appreciate the references where the doctor that gets like chased in the beginning is called Dr. Carmack, after John Carmack, of
Okay.
course. There's a
Yeah.
guy in like what I can only describe as the funkiest looking futuristic wheelchair I've ever seen, where he's like bottom half of his body is like fused to the top on like a pair of wheels, and he's called Pinky, which is the name of the pink demon in Doom. There's also the BFG in this game where it's called its actual name, which is like a bio something, and then Dwayne the Rock Johnson picks it up and says, "This is a big fucking gun," which I'm like, hell yeah. It's pretty awful. It's not good. It's not a good film, but it's very fun to watch with friends and just laugh at.
Right. It's sort of B movie territory.
Yes, it is definitely a beam. A lot of the time, the plot was happening. I'm like, this makes no sense. Why is it? And it's like I've literally just watched Alien, and I'm like, this is a masterclass in
Oh,
like sci-fi horror. And then I watched
yeah.
Doom 2005, and I'm like, they have no fucking idea what they're doing. Like they have zero tension, and then they're like, oh my
Yeah.
god, jump scare! It's a zombie creature. Let me shoot it. All right, let's do nothing for 10 minutes with zero tension. It's just like, yeah, okay. They clearly didn't know what they were doing with this film. But
Yeah, yeah.
it's hilarious. I've been watching more
They're fun.
I've been watching more Mushishi. We're onto the Japan section now,
Okay.
Tony. Still liking the
Yeah.
show. Been watching other stuff in the background because, man, it's like because a lot of the stuff I've been watching is like, it's like a arc thing, which so like one episode carries
Yeah.
on from the other. It's a lot easier
Yeah,
to
the whole
follow. Whereas
yeah.
Mushishi is like classic episodic television.
Yeah.
So it's more like a
Yeah.
Star Trek, and it's also I would say
Yeah.
it's more like a Star Trek where some episodes are like really like heavy and philosophical, and I have to
Yeah,
like, think
yeah.
about them for a
Yeah.
bit. And just
Some
watching,
of them are
just
very
just
dense.
just watching those back to back to back to back can be quite heavy. So I've been watching it in like like in between other shows, sort of thing.
I think when I watched it back in the day, I watched like a couple a day or something.
Mm.
If I remember correctly. I didn't watch it like I didn't. It was before binge watching, so
I've been watching Aharon-san wa Hakaranai, which I believe means
I've never
Aharon-san
heard of
is
it.
indecipherable. It's a rom-com anime,
Okay.
basically. It's all right.
Right.
Because I've also been... Oh, I've finished Uzumaki. Because I said, hey, Junji Ito, episode 1, really good. Episode 2, really bad. Yep. Episode 3 and 4, just goes off a fucking cliff. It is just... the entire budget is on like episode 1, and then like they just run out of budget and production, and then like it just goes to complete shit. It's like awful animation. Because I'm still watching Dandadan, and Dandadan's really good, and I'm just comparing the animation of Dandadan to Uzumaki, and I'm like, these are like just on a completely different level in terms of animation.
Yeah. I guess budget helps a lot though.
Because I've been trying to watch more like current stuff, like stuff that's come out like summer 2024. So I watched Gigi
Oh,
Harem,
okay.
which is, I think some people find like endearing, but I find like creepy because it's essentially about this girl who has she likes this boy, and the boy's like, I want to experience what it's like to be in a harem, where a bunch of girls are trying to get with me, basically. And she's like, oh, I'm an actress, I can be all of those personalities at once. And I'm like, this woman is schizophrenic, do not talk to her. But that's like the plot of the show, basically. She has like a tsundere personality, she has like a more cutesy personality and stuff like that. And he's like trying to do it's a rom-com thing. It's all right, it's not the greatest. One thing I did
Yeah,
really
it's like
like
I
though
choose to
was
watch.
Mackinac, Too Many Losing Heroines. Now this is another rom-com, but it's almost a deconstruction of the genre. As someone who's been watching tons of these, I'm like, this is fucking brilliant. So this show is about, so in like rom-coms, you have like the girl or the boy that gets with the romantic interest. This is a show about the girls that don't get with the romantic interest. They basically
Oh,
lose. They're
right.
the losing heroines.
Yeah.
So, and there's a
Yeah.
bunch of tropes in rom-coms where you have the athletic girl with short hair, the girl with blue hair who is childhood friends with the romantic interest. You have
Yeah.
like the shy girl who is in the literature club, and it's like a story about them and how they're completely in love with this guy, but somebody else has stolen them and they've had to just give up, basically. And I'm like, this is great. Like, you never get to,
Yeah.
this is actually like an interesting
Different
story.
perspective. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
And then I've been watching Kaguya-sama Love is War, which again is another rom-com, but it's much more of a comedy where it's essentially two people who are like, it's the student council president and the student council's vice president, and they're both like, they're both like really prideful, and she's like, of course the president is in love with me, and the president's like, of course this woman's in love with me, but I would never confess them because that would mean losing the war. And they basically go through like these insane tactics in order to try and get the other person to confess their love to them, sort of thing. It's quite funny.
Okay.
But I think that's done by A1 Studios, who also does Mackinac. Mackinac's music's really good and the animation's really good as well. And I think it's done by the same production company as Kaguya-sama, because somebody recommended that after I watched it on. Somebody was saying it was like a good premise on Reddit. I've been listening to more jazz tone. I'm listening to some classic jazz albums. I've been listening to Chet Baker Sings, My Favorite Things by John Coltrane, and Kind of Blue by Miles Davis, and also a little bit of not
These
jazz.
are classics.
These are like you know, a lot of, like Chet Baker Sings, a lot of like jazz standards. Like Miles Davis, Kind of Blue, considered to be some of like the all-time greatest like classic jazz albums. I've been listening to those, and they're pretty good. I quite like them. I'm gonna have to listen to them again, I think, and just kind of hammer down my favorite songs. I know Chet Baker for a long time because I know like I Fall in Love Too Easily, or what's the other song called? Chet Baker Sings. It was my fun. He does like a lot of these are written by other people. So what I've learned is like on these albums, a lot of these songs are written by somebody else in like the 20s, but then their renditions of them, and they're what you would call jazz standards. Although, because like,
okay, right.
here's a question: Would you say Frank Sinatra is jazz?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe.
because I think it is considered to be like jazz, but at the time it was just pop music because that's what was popular.
Yeah.
But
I
not
don't.
but
Pop
not for
to me,
me.
pop music is
the
not a
song I'm thinking
genre.
of.
That's just to specify what people listen to right now.
But I think Kind of Blue by Miles Davis is sort of more what's called modal jazz. I don't know. I'm trying to learn like more about the intricacies of stuff like because you have stuff like Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, which is like really like swingy jazz. Like Chet Baker's very, I would say like Chet Baker's more like depressed jazz. It's just like I'm sad and I'm playing the trumpet for the most part.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then not jazz. I wanted to mention this quickly. There's an artist out right now called Pink Panthers, and she makes like big music on like TikTok, right? She has that song with like Ice Spice, where she's like, "That boy's a liar," and I'm like, "Oh, this is like generic TikTok music." She releases this album, and somebody posts on Twitter, and they're like, "Listen to the instrumental to this song," and I'm listening to it, and I'm like, "You could put this on any Sega game right now, and it would go so fucking hard." Like, the beat on this song is insane. It's called Another Life Instrumental. Look it up on YouTube. Like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is some, like, you could put this on, like, Persona, a JRPG. Like, I think the post on Twitter I saw was like, Pink Panthers, the JRPG industry is calling to you. You need to start making more songs like this. I wish I could play it to you without getting DMCA struck.
I saw a lot of people have heard it though, haven't they?
Because I listened to the song with lyrics, and I was like, yeah, I don't like this, but I like the instrumental. It has this sick like synth guitar riff in it, and I was like, maybe I should see who Pink Panthers' producer is. And I looked him up, and it turns out he is a classically trained jazz pianist, and I was like, this makes sense. He's making... The more I go back and I listen to video game music, the more and more jazz I'm hearing in it, and I'm like, this makes sense why I'm like really liking this stuff. But yeah, I guess I've talked about a bunch of shit. So is there anything you want me to go over before I move on?
No, I've probably gone through. We've gone through stuff quite a lot already. So, no, I think you answered all my questions already. So
you'll love to see it. And that, guys, is the 1 minute up. Where I'm
yeah.
To talk about these things. Stop the timer.
And only took 20 minutes.
Well, it's a light news week, you know. I gotta fill the space.
You gotta pad it out.
Yeah, me talking about Doom from 2005 and a bunch of jazz and animation.
I only talked about Lego for 10 minutes. So,
did you listen to the song I sent you?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I definitely agree that it could be
It could be. You could put that on any. You could put it on like any JRPG or like a Persona or like just whatever, and it would just immediately fit. Like a Sonic soundtrack would be great.
Yeah. I think it'd be lots and lots of things. This parts feel like I don't like even the instrumental, but yeah, I think it's still pretty solid.
Anyway, let's move on to the trailers. New Blood presents Tenebris-Somnia. So I've known about this game I've played this game in a Steam Next Fest. It was originally. It was I don't know how to pronounce it. I think they're Argentinian. This might be in Latin as well. I don't know. But basically, it's this weird mix of like point and click horror and like FMV stuff. I was like, I love the FMV stuff. It looks really cool. And then I was like, I hate the really confusing point and click stuff from what I play the demo. So it depends if what they change. Like I played, what's it called? Mortis, the Airdorf game. Oh, so not only is New Blood now publishing this, they've bought the maker of Faith from New Blood. You remember that Faith game we played with like the 2D pixel art priest?
Yeah.
He's now working on this game as an executive producer. So this is what New Blood does a lot, where they're like, we're going to publish this game, but we're also like really heavily involved in making the game as well.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how this turns out now that New Blood's like involved with it. It's now like an official New Blood title sort of thing. Because I'm always interested in looking at New Blood stuff. So that'll be cool to see. Then we have Sea of Thieves. Season 14 is getting an update. And they are doing a bunch of stealth features. So they're adding like the ability to crouch and sneak up on people and like turn into... like I think you can like bury yourself and hide and stuff. And they basically
sort of thing,
disguise stuff. Okay. They basically added.
Okay.
They added like sleep darts, I think, as well. There's basically a bunch of new stealth stuff that they added, and like for the longest time, Tony, you've not been able to crouch in Sea of Thieves.
Oh,
Um,
really?
and then they were basically
Is
like,
that?
sorry,
I was saying, is there any PVE stuff that they added to make you need to use crouching for
no.
with this update? Okay,
So they
so
they,
it's
they
more
added like the
PvP.
ability to crouch, use disguises, lay down traps. So you can like bury traps in the sand. If someone walks on them, they'll like explode. And then there's also ledge hanging, so you can like hang off ledges and hide. And you can also disable mermaids, so they don't like. Usually, what would happen is you would sneak onto someone's ship, and they would constantly be like a. Whenever you are not on your ship in Sea of Thieves, a mermaid shows up in the water with a giant like flare, going, "Hey, come here if you need to get back to your ship." But what would happen is if you're hiding on somebody else's ship and they see the mermaid, they go, "Oh wait, somebody's hiding on our ship." So they've added this new item you can take, which will stop the mermaid from spawning in order to give your position away, which I thought was really cool.
Right.
So this is a big
Yeah.
stealth update. Turns out, adding crouching and a bunch of stealth mechanics to a game that was built a while ago without these mechanics completely breaks the game. So it seems like nearly all of the big new stealth features are causing significant issues with the game. So they've had to like disable most of them. So basically, it was causing like a lot of PvP bugs. Basically, crouching and disguises have been disabled and will be re-enabled in a hotfix as soon as possible. And then traps and ledge hanging will be re-enabled in a future November patch once they've finally figured out how to fix that.
Okay. Interesting.
But yeah, I think there was like basically they fixed a bunch of bugs that were happening in PvP where you could basically quick switch between weapons, or there was another one where you had way more control of where you would fly out of a cannon, which was giving players huge advantages in PvP if they knew how to exploit the bug, which they'd
Oh, I
fixed.
see.
But then adding these new like features was re-enabling those bugs, and we were like, okay, we can't degrade the experience by adding these features, so we need to fix
Yeah.
these first and then re-add them, sort of thing. Then move on to Six Samurai, which was described as Hotline Miami meets like Samurai Champloo Cowboy Bebop. And then I was like, you're just describing all of the things I like right now. So I was like, I definitely got to
One
check this
package.
one out. Yeah. So I think this looks really cool. I'll definitely give this a go. I love like Hotline Miami style games. I think we need more of them. Like I love Hotline Miami. I love
Yeah.
Ape Out is another great one. By the
Yeah.
way, Ape Out, great jazz soundtrack featuring the works of Pharoah Sanders as well. Really good jazz soundtrack. But yeah, this looks really good. Interested to see more of this. Then we have announcements. Marvel Spider-Man 2 has been announced. It's coming to Steam, Tony, and it's coming the 30th of January next year. So this will make it 15 months since its release date. So it's only a year and 3 months since it came out on the PS5, which means that PlayStation releases on the PS5 and PC are getting like closer and closer together. We've gone from like a like 5 years apart to being like a year and a half to like a year from release, which is really nice to see. Are you interested in the Spider-Man games at all?
Oh, well, I own the first two now. One and 1.5.
I also own the first two, and I
need to play them.
I haven't played them, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I will eventually play Marvel Spider-Man 2, but I'll have to play the other Spider-Man games first.
I still remember before the first one came out, people were like very concerned, like how would the web swinging be as good as like the original Spider-Man 2 with like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 2 game.
Pizza time.
Yeah,
exactly
that one. Which I still really like. I need to find a way to actually play that, but
PCX2.
Yeah, exactly.
X2. Just emulate it.
I need to get that set up basically. Imagine that on the Steam Deck. Other than that, would make any sense.
Yeah, you can emulate PS2 on this. I've literally handed you PS2 emulation on
the
Steam Deck.
Would the controls make sense? So like, I guess it would because it was on PlayStation. Yeah, so I might set that up at some point.
Then we have, let's go into releases, Tony. We have Up to Par came out on the 14th of October. This is a roguelite mini golf game. I think I played it on Next Festus. It was pretty interesting. So let's have a look. Superb high-quality miniature golf game that you can play solo co-op or versus with friends. I love the roguelike elements and the random course generation to ensure that no two games will be exactly the same. Recommend it. Might seem a little expensive. Remember, the quality usually costs a little more and it's often well worth it. That's cool to see. There's some janky carts, but the core gameplay is very enjoyable, especially if you have a buddy that you can compete with or against. If you're looking for a game that you can play a few rounds of every day, I recommend this, but maybe on a sale rather than full price. So look, it is £16.75 off sale, and then I'm guessing a sale will take that down a bit. So yeah, seems interesting. Neva came out, which is the next game from the creators of Grizz, which was like a cinematic, like artsy platformer. But this time we have stag-looking dog thing. What is it? A wolf with like stag horns. So let's have a look at what people are saying about this one. I own Grizz. I have yet to play it. I jumped into Neva right away because I love Grizz. It was once in a lifetime game for me. Beautiful story, stunning graphics, fantastic scenes, and a lovely music. It's a hard act to follow. After an opening scene that pulls the heartstring, Neva is a journey by a girl and a wolf-like companion. You traverse a landscape that is beautiful and treacherous. The game had gorgeous graphics and music, but I have not found the early sections to be compelling as Grizz. Combat has been added, which is not my favourite feature. Luckily, the developers have provided a story mode option that eliminates death by enemies and the need to manage your health. 6+ hours into the game, I'm enjoying the adventure and looking forward to the story developing. Then I hit the end of the full Part 1 section that requires a long sequence of precision platforming up a disintegrating tree that is a timed exercise and is a very tall tree with no immediate save point. Miss a jump or run out of time and you have to start over. If this were for the achievement, I'd just move on and give up on the 100%, but I have to get past this tree in order to continue the game. At this point, the tree is winning, and I've seen the death scene ad nauseum. I keep coming back to try again, and when I make the jumps, I run out of time near the top and experience yet another death. The fun factor is wearing off, and I'm beginning to dread my next tree encounter. If this is a harbinger of the skill level required to complete Neva, I am in trouble. I have not given up yet, but would describe Neva as a precision platformer. I had some tough jumps to make in Grizz for achievements, but I never got stuck like this. I should have believed the reviews that stated Neva was much more difficult than Grizz. I can't slam the game. It is beautifully crafted for players with the proper skill set, which apparently is not me. If you're uncomfortable with speedily performing precise aerial maneuvers with a controller, then Neva may not be for you. Meanwhile, that darn tree is still mocking my feeble attempts to conquer it. Oh, okay. So it seems like this game is much more platforming, combat orientated than the first one, which is interesting. I wonder if I would like that.
Yeah.
Because I do like platforming. I'm much more a collectathon guy. There are precision. I love Celeste. I love Super Meat Boy. Like there is 2D precision platformers I do love, but then again I do get really annoyed sometimes by precision platformers. So we'll have to wait and see with this one. Oh, 16th of October, Tony. I've Fallen for You is coming out. You were like, Joe, why are you looking at this game? And I'm like, it's literally on Steam DB's release calendar. And as you can see, I've already purchased the game because it was on sale. Basically, I was looking on Steam, and every time I clicked on one of these games, I was like, have you also seen this game that is on sale and is a Chinese FMV dating sim that is made by a completely different company? And I'm like, well, I'll have to give that a look. I have to learn more about Tracy, the Hong Kong style MILF that is confident and independent. We have to learn. Out of the FMV games I've played, this is one of the best story. It's also just got a bunch of endings, including some hidden ones. There are 91 achievements, and it's pretty clear how to get them. Some scenes aren't in HD, but it's only a small part. The English subtitles are clear enough, though the behind-the-scene videos do not have English subtitles yet. Hopefully the devs add those in the future. Overall, totally worth the price. Honestly, I think it's too cheap for what you get.
It's what?
They're saying the price is too good. It costs £5 at the moment.
This
game
good.
is too good. Make the game worse. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because sometimes I get recommended, I click on them, and then it goes, oh yeah, this game is not supported in the English language, or I'll get update
Mm,
posts that are written in like Chinese, and I'm like, I don't
yeah,
speak Chinese. I don't know what this
I've got a game
says.
like that. Like, I wish I could. If I only could read the patch notes.
Yeah, but it is good. Like, so if you can look if a game is like what it supports in terms of
Yeah,
interface and audio and subtitles and stuff. But the thing I love about Steam, because I've never had to encounter this, because I've never really looked outside of games that are mostly made in Western countries, so like
yeah,
England,
until
like
recently.
Europe and America and stuff like that, until
Yeah,
recently. But now, like if I click on a game and it's like it doesn't support the English language, it'll be like, I think this one, it'll be like, this product doesn't currently support the English language, and it'll tell
yeah,
me.
yeah. It's pretty useful. It normally is obvious, but yeah, it is helpful to just like point it out because you might get. You go by the screenshots, you're like, oh, okay.
If I click like the Love Is All Around prequel game that just came out, it'll say like English language is not supported. So like right
Hmm.
now, it's telling me like, look, there's no English yet, and I know some people will still go and play these despite them not being translated.
They'll soldier
Um,
through.
yeah, they'll just look. I mean, I can half understand why you would play these without the subtitles, just looking at the
Yeah,
images and the videos on the screen. But I don't know. I
yeah.
think I would wait for the subtitles to come out before I ventured into some of these newer games. So we have A Quiet Place: The Road Ahead, which is a new survival horror game from the Quiet Place film, which is about like making as little noise as possible, where monsters have like super good hearing. I did a single playthrough on normal. The game
Oh yeah,
starts
yeah,
off pretty slow. About midway through the game, you're introducing more mechanics and interacting with the monsters more. I enjoyed later on when we got to chain the mechanics together to get around and avoid the monsters. Overall, it's a solid horror game. It stays true to A Quiet Place universe. You need to be very quiet and take things slow, or you're a goner. I give it a 7 out of 10. Um, I played the game on stream for the first time and would totally recommend the game to others who love the suspense build up, jump scares, and storyline is really good for the 8 hours I've played so far. Yeah, it seems like people are liking this. I'm guessing it's mostly just like slow, tense, like walking sims, or like you're just slowly getting chased by. Because what it seems to be going on in like the videos and pictures and stuff is that like they've got a bag of sand and they're like placing it down as they go. I guess to try and make a is that to try and make a surface that is like that won't make a
yeah.
sound.
In the film, yeah,
I've never seen the film, so I don't know about
there's a lot of logical things missing. There's a lot of suspension of disbelief you have to have. But yeah, they're in the films like they would walk. I think they walked on like bare feet or like they put sand down so they could walk on it. I think so,
yeah.
like instead of like walking on louder stuff. I don't know. It's a bit weird.
But yeah, surely the sound of pouring sand would make a noise.
Well, how about the sounds of the wildlife around it? Like,
Mm,
surely there's still sounds of like wind and trees blowing. Like, surely you just be below a certain noise floor. I don't know. It's
mm.
a bit weird. But yeah, I think the idea was I think it was that. And I guess it's just a path to follow. And only one person has to do it. Maybe it's like you only put it down where you need to in the films. But I don't know.
See, it's made by Stormwind Games, and they've done some other horror games by the look of it. I don't think I've ever really looked into these other games, but it seems like people seem to like this one.
Hmm.
Assassin's Creed Mirage came out on Steam on the 17th of October.
Crazy.
Crazy that it was like a Ubisoft
It
Epic
wasn't.
exclusive for the longest time.
Yeah.
Set language to Arabic for best experience with English or other subtitles that makes the game more epic. This feels like the prototype of an Assassin's Creed 1 remake after playing all the Assassin's Creed game in release order. This is a breath of fresh air after
Yeah.
all the RPGs. It has a
I
smaller scope, but it feels like I can enjoy the world without going into a 70-hour campaign. I even met Boy Hatham without seeking out an icon on the map. I don't know who Boy Hatham is. This team would be well suited for remaking the originals and adding content to them. Excited to play through this one. If people like this game, that means Ubisoft's going to disband the team immediately. What are you going to say, Tony?
yeah. So I think there's already been reports of disappointing sales. And
Well, they're
there's like it
gone.
was like and it is like somewhat mediocre in terms of like the mission structures. Like, it
Right.
does seem like they could have put more effort into that, but it was still like I watched a lot of reviews at the time because like I was more interested in it as someone who liked the first game a lot, and it's like yeah, it seems like very much back to like people were saying like it's mediocre, but not
Yeah.
because of the stuff they've added back from the first game. That's actually what makes it good. So hopefully Ubisoft understands that, but I don't trust Ubisoft at all. But I want more of this, but better. That's what I
Mm.
want. But I'm still going to pick it up at some point. I don't know when, but
Yeah, I'm not that interested in it. I'm more interested in like the Lost Crown because that game generally looks really good. But I don't know. I'm trying not to buy too many games this year while also buying like 7 Chinese dating FMV games. But we'll see. We'll see. Next up we have Factorio Space Age DLC came out, and I was looking at it and I was like, wait a minute, £30 for a DLC, and then I'm like, wait a minute, this is an expansion for the game. I'm so used to DLC being like a pack of gun skins or something akin to that.
yeah, we've become complacent to what we expect from, or like a couple of skins for your Resident Evil characters.
But this is like an actual old like a Reign of Chaos like style, like a the Frozen Throne expansion for Warcraft
Yeah,
3 or something along those lines. Like it's actually a
a
lot of
proper yeah,
content. And also,
yeah.
I will say, Factorio famously never goes on sale. So if you're thinking,
No,
£30, I'll wait for it to go on sale. Don't. It won't go on sale.
no.
Um, so yeah, if you're interested in this, just get it now and play it. I know a couple of friends who play Factorio and they're very excited for this, so that's cool to see. I think it is
Has it
mostly
literally
based on
never been on sale?
No, the way I got it on sale is I bought it through the Humble store, which gives you a 20% discount if you're a Humble
Oh,
Choice subscriber. So I did it that
that's just
way.
from their point of view.
Yeah,
That's
but
just like them,
I
like
got the
yeah,
discount from Humble, so I
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
actually get the.
Okay.
So yeah, believe Factorio has never been on sale. I think it has increased in
I
price maybe over
yeah,
the
yeah. Well, I
years.
think it started. Apparently, I saw the score report. It started like an itch.io game, like really cheap, and then got more and more expensive as the scope increased.
I believe it used to cost £15 and now it costs £30.
Yeah, yeah. Which is not considering what's in the game. I think that's actually very reasonable.
Hmm. Can have a look. There's a how do I check prices on Steam database? Price history? Yeah, it seems like the lowest price it was £15, but it seems like look.
Mm.
This is
So yeah, you have to get a
15,
time machine if you want.
20, 25,
Yeah,
30.
yeah.
It's just increased. It's literally only increased in price over the years.
And it's gonna go up more.
Yep.
I
Next
can't
up,
remember how much I paid for it, but I assume it was like 25 or something.
I think I spent around £20 on it. Then we have No More Room in Hell 2, which came out the 27th of October. This is the next game from Tor Banner Studios, the same people who did Chivalry and the original No More Room in Hell, and they've adapted this original Valve source mod to be a brand new game, and it's got mixed reviews at the moment. Let's see what people are saying. It's launched into early access. Intrigued to see what people do or don't like about it. Now, I know there's a lot of bugs. I know there's a lot of problems, and I generally think you should go back in the oven. That it should go back in the oven. However, I played with half a lobby while the other half was dead, and we got into a huge horde fight with nothing but a few shells and the indomitable human spirit that was such a feeling I don't think I've ever felt in another game. It has promise. There's immense potential, and I think we should give the devs a chance. It seems like the game is not in a good state at the moment. It's very buggy and broken at the moment, it seems like.
Right. Kind of sucks.
Wait until they fix performance issues and various bugs. Okay. Batman Arkham Shadow came out on the MetaQuest, and it seems to be getting very good reviews. People are saying this is genuinely like a really good like VR game and a very good Batman Arkham game.
Okay.
Batman Arkham Shadow can feel rough around the edges at times, but it feels more than a worthy entry to the Arkham series and an essential Quest 3 experience. Batman Arkham Shadow isn't just a great VR game, it's also one of the best Batman games. This game really makes you feel like Batman.
That's good to hear.
Tony, should we see what our users are thinking about this? Oh, player rating is visible after 20 reviews. Okay, Tony, we're going to be talking about OpenCritic in a minute.
I saw. I was on the document.
Love is All Around prequel came out on the 23rd of October. I think Love is All Around is like maybe like one of the games that got really big in like this Chinese FMV thing. But they've released a prequel to the game because they've also released DLC, and this came out on the 23rd of October. But English language is not supported at the moment, Tony. So unfortunately, I can't.
Well, you have to get your dictionary out.
I'll become the Chinese room, and I'll just receive Chinese instructions with my rule book, and I will turn that into, English for other people. Next up, Windblown is released into early access, and I've heard it is quite good, but it's also quite, bare bones for the early access release. So I think, again, I'm just going to wait on this game. I talked about this in the Steam Next Fest. It's a 3D game from the Dead Cells creators with a co-op roguelite, and it's really good from what I've played. But I kind of just want to wait until the full release comes out.
Yeah, 100%.
Sonic X Shadow Generations. Tony, when I was on the Steam DB calendar, I believe it sorts games by how many reviews they have when you click on them.
Oh, is that what they're doing? Okay.
Sonic X Shadow Generations was ahead of Call of Duty Black Ops 6, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So many more people have given this game a review on Steam than they have for Call of Duty Black Ops 6, and I'm like, that's fucking nuts. Is this the Game Pass effect? Is that what's happening right now?
Maybe.
Or maybe Sonic fans are just some of the most mentally...
Well, I guess...
fans of Sonic.
Well, maybe like people that don't feel the need to do it for Call of Duty because it's like, oh, it's another one sort of thing.
I'm trying to be more positive.
Where Sonic is another one?
Random jabs at the Sonic community.
Well, I still have my personal beef with the Sonic community based on the recommendations they have made that I very much disagree with.
I was not a fan of Frontiers, and people seem to really like Frontiers, which I disagree with.
I think it is very bad.
But
I think not having played it, I think I rate it lower than you did. So
the Shadow Generation game is simply a new benchmark for the franchise. Excellent storytelling, great level design, and tons of new elements add to the gameplay loop. The level design is best one we've seen to date. The high skill ceiling of colors, the long level design and reaction gameplay of Unleashed, the branching paths and fluid physics and abilities of Generation. This is peak 3D Sonic and is now as good as a 2D Sonic. The inclusion of Sonic Generations is a nice bonus, but the game is still a must-buy if you already own the original Generation title. So, I have actually seen the speedrunner Trihex playing this on Twitch, and his general thoughts of it are... because he also... coincidentally, he was talking about Frontiers and was saying, that game fucking sucks. I can't believe so many people like Frontiers. But he was saying this game is genuinely really good. Like it has like a good like he thought the campaign was pretty easy as like a professional speedrunner, but he was saying there's also these bonus stage challenges that are like really good, like challenging hardcore gameplay for speedrunners like him. So he's like it's a really good mix of like you give the normies a really like challenging for them, like satisfying campaign, and then you add like these really cool speedrunning levels for the more advanced players. And I'm like, yeah, it genuinely does sound like a really good game. So
yeah.
And as somebody who is generally really likes the first Sonic, like the original Sonic Generations is a really good game. I'm excited to try the Shadow levels because I think that might be interesting to see.
Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah. And then, of course, we have Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which is getting mixed reviews on Steam. And I think this is more to do with the servers. Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
So I've
I
been
would
playing this on Game
say
Pass.
normally if there's server issues, you get very negative early on. So the fact it's mixed must mean that it's good, but with server issues is my prediction there. My hypothesis.
Okay, so the top review is buy €110 game, delete 250 gigabytes of games to install some all-in-one platform for all Call of Duties. Spend one night downloading the game. Game doesn't even start. Follow all troubleshooting steps. Game still doesn't start. Refund 10 out of 10 experience. Yeah, I've not had the greatest experience with this Call of Duty launcher thing they're doing. I'm not a big fan of it. But I will say when you're actually playing the game, it is really well optimized, and the campaign so far has had some like good open-ended stuff with like interesting level design.
Yeah,
with like multiple ways to tackle it.
Yeah.
I don't understand the negative reviews. The game is very good, great campaign, multiplayer and zombies, and a huge amount of fun for me. A couple of the multiplayer maps may need tweaking, and a nice couple more zombie maps. Otherwise, in my opinion, the best COD in ages. Because like I've seen reviews that are like, this is a review for multiplayer, this is a review for single player, and this is a review for zombies. Like some people are like splitting them up into different categories.
Yeah. I mean, the fact there's even a zombie mode in this, I think, is actually pretty huge. Because we've had a couple that there isn't anything.
Oh, here's something that I was seeing getting a lot of negative reviews. As somebody who's been playing competitive like FPS games for a long time, I am very used to skill-based matchmaking. I like skill-based matchmaking. Call of Duty players really don't like skill-based matchmaking. They want, because like OG Call of Duty games have always had it so you would just randomly get put in a lobby with random players, and there would be better players and worse players. And I think this game, they're trying like more intensive skill-based matchmaking, and people are complaining about that. Ooh. I think Call of Duty literally put out statistics where they did a test. I think it was for one of the previous like newest Call of Duty games where they basically cranked down the skill matchmaking like as an experiment in some of the matches, and they found that players were way more pissed off when they turned skill-based matchmaking down or turned it off completely, sort of thing. So I feel like this is more like a vocal minority of people being like, we don't want this, when they actually do enjoy it.
Well, I feel like there's a vocal minority in a lot of PvP. I'm using PvP here because I've seen this like MMO sort of stuff and like RuneScape sort of stuff. Whereas like they just want to like gank on people, and they then blame them for like, oh, why do you want to play PvP? It's like, because you're making it shit. Like you're just preying on the weak. Like you're just being bullies. Like that's how I kind of read it. They just want to be able to be put in a match where there's people that they can't, or they can easily defeat. Right? That's how I'm reading that. Like surely you want to put in a match with equal skills so you can like have a good, I don't know, have a good battle. Like that's how I would say. Like, why do you want to kill people easily? I don't know. To me, I'm cynical looking at this going. There's a lot of bullying mentality there.
Yeah, it's just more people saying skill-based matchmaking is ruining this game.
Yeah. I don't trust those sort of people.
Again, this is my first Call of Duty game in 15 years, but the past 15 years of me playing other FPS multiplayer games, skill-based matchmaking is a thing in them, and I like it. Lots of people like it.
If there's been a test with Call of Duty players themselves, and they tend to like it, like surely that's what you should be going through.
It's my first Black Ops game ever, which feels insane to jump in at 6, but I feel like they got to be their own like self-contained story sort of thing.
I don't think it matters.
I haven't seen any section where it's like, hey, remember me from Call of Duty Black Ops 3? And I'm like, whoa!
No. But I think you probably get a lot more out of it if you played like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sort of thing, that you'd have like a cohesive story. But maybe not cohesive, but you'd have like, it'd be like its own, like, So I think, they're self-contained.
Then next up we have quick news. OpenCritic now allows you to rate games and see the average rating players have given to a game, with profiles coming soon. Now, there's also a website that currently exists called Metacritic, and another website called OpenCritic was opened in order to compete with this, because the idea of Metacritic was that it would take all the journalist reviews, and then they started having user reviews on it as well, and it just became this like mishmash of like review bombs and like, Gamergate-y stuff, and it just became like an absolute nightmare of a website. And it turns out like OpenCritic, OpenCritic was meant to defeat Metacritic, not become it. So it seems like recently OpenCritic was bought by a company called Valnet earlier this year, which is the same media company that owns The Gamer, DualShockers, Game Rant, and Hardcore Gamer. And they've literally said in a statement that they want to turn OpenCritic into a social media site. Why the fuck are you turning OpenCritic into a social media site? Here's a quote. OpenCritic is well known for giving gaming enthusiasts clear, unbiased aggregation of gaming reviews, proving an invaluable service to the gaming industry as a whole, Fleischman said in an announcement. We've got big plans to make it the ultimate social network for gamers, with new unique features that boost social interaction, community engagement, and library building for our user base, he continued. So basically, they're taking one of the best like open websites for just looking at what critics think about games and being like,
reviews.
Let's take a massive Web3 shit on it. It's just like, for God's sake. Then we have Jagex is working on a survival game set in the RuneScape universe using Unreal Engine 5, and we have zero information. This is literally a threat right now. We are going to make an Unreal Engine 5 survival game. This is a threat.
Does anyone care about this? That's my question.
I don't know. Well, the thing is, we know like literally nothing about it. Like it's this. We know as much about this as the Riot MMO.
Sure.
So I just assume it won't ever exist until it does.
I feel like people are kind of have some sort of idea of like whether you like or don't like or do or do not want like a Riot MMO. Like I feel like do RuneScape people?
Honestly, I don't know because I'm not a RuneScape person. I think I said to my friend RuneScape Andy, "Do you know about this?" And he was like, "Yeah." I don't think he really cared that much.
Yeah, that's the kind of feeling I'm getting. Is that why?
I mean,
but again, we don't know anything, so maybe there'd be like a big.
Didn't we look up that there was literally some other games that RuneScape had made outside the RuneScape universe, like ages ago? I've got like faint memories of this.
I have vague memories of this. I don't remember the answer though.
Yeah, I can't remember. Again, I'm not really a RuneScape
person. No failures
if
it was true, right? Like, it didn't succeed or something.
Yeah. Anyway,
I don't remember.
Then we have Luckbeer Landlord is unbanned in Korea, South Korea again. So initially it was banned because South Korea is like, this is a gambling game. You need to be 18 plus. And they were like, this is not a gambling game. It is literally features no real world gambling. It got geo-blocked in a bunch of countries, including Algeria, Iran, Jordan, Libya, Oman, Palestine, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Syria, Tunisia, Yemen.
Any European ones? Because like I know who is it? Who's the one? Is it Belgium that have like the really strong gambling laws? So I'm surprised. So I guess they were like, no, this is clearly just a game without it.
But yeah, in August of last year, it was banned in 13 countries on the Google Play Store, where a decent percentage of the game's mobile revenue comes from. While I'd love to have the game unbanned in the other 12 countries, getting the game unbanned in South Korea was the top priority for financial reasons. The website I paid for a GRAC rating from the Game Rating Administration Committee. They gave Luck Be a Landlord a 12 plus rating, which resulted in Luck Being a Landlord finally being unbanned on the Google Play Store in South Korea in January 2024. However, in May 2024, I received an email from the GRSC stating the game was re-rated to be suitable for ages 19 and up. All attempts to appeal this decision were ignored, and the 19-plus rating seems like it won't be changed. This resulted in the game being banned on the Apple App Store in South Korea soon after. So, after discussing the matter with Apple support, I was told the game would be unbanned from the App Store in South Korea if I update my GRSC rating code to Apple's backend. Unfortunately, the prompt to do so would only appear if my game's global age rating was changed to 17 plus in all regions. I found this
That's so dumb.
stipulation ridiculous, but frankly, I'm done fighting this. I've complied with Apple and GRC, and now the game is once again available on the App Store in South Korea. I've said it once, but I'll say it again. It's so horribly backwards that games with literal real money gambling like Genshin Impact, Madden, and NFL don't have an ESRB or PEGI rating higher than a 13 plus. In the case, while games that contain no actual real money gambling like Balatro have an 18 plus rating and have to go through all of this garbage simply because someone on a rating board saw a screenshot of a poker chip and said, hey, that looks like gambling. I'm sick of this. My next game will not have any gambling things whatsoever. Congratulations, rating boards. You successfully stifle creativity. Good thing you're doing such a great job protecting kids who are literally developing gambling addictions from loot boxes. Disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, this goes to show you like
Dysfunctional organizations.
We have the Dave and Friends collaboration update. We talked about this. We have the MX Toon singer-songwriter visited, Bancho Sushi. We've got Balatro in Dave the Diver, and then we have the Potion Craft quest line with the Mushroomer visit, Dave the Diver, with some some nice bug fixes and performance improvements. I've noticed like it was a bit slow, but to move between like the ship and Bancho Sushi. They've actually improved a lot of the loading times, and I could feel that when I was playing that, so that was cool to see. I hadn't clicked on this. Also, we have the Balatro Friends of Jimbo update. Tony, we now have Cyberpunk, The Binding of Isaac, Slay the Spire, and Stardew Valley as collaboration updates inside Balatro. This is really awesome to see. So, depending on which CG Projekt Red RPG you prefer, you can have those on your cards, whether it be The Witcher or Cyberpunk. The thing that really gets me is they do like these custom videos where they show like these unique mechanics of the cards, but they don't actually exist in the game. So like, for example, the Slay the Spire one, they show like the merchant's hand wagging across the screen like it does in the Slay the Spire shop of the merchant. And I was like, I would love this as like an actual feature in the game that you could turn on, because I would have that permanently on. It's cool to see like the card art of like the defect and the silent and stuff like that. So that's really cool to see. Apparently, Concerned Ape himself drew the art for the Stardew Valley cards, which is cool to see. Yeah. I saw that Concerned Ape posted on Twitter like a couple of days ago saying that he'd finally 100% completed Stardew Valley himself, which I found kind of funny.
Finally.
I love to see like these fun cosmetic updates, but I'm really hoping for more gameplay stuff for Slay the Spire, but Balatro, because Balatro is really fucking fun. Then let's move on to mod news. Fallout 13 has officially suspended development. Fallout 13 was a Fallout 1 remake being remade in Fallout 4, and they even released a demo that was available to be played and stuff. So it looked like it was making good progress. But they've basically said that basically they got burnt out, and they basically, a lot of people were working like real life jobs and they didn't have time to commit to the project. It was getting too much. And basically what they're going to do is they're going to build like a final full build of what they have of Fallout Vault 13 with all the unfinished content. And they're going to release that to the community to say, hey, this is everything that we did work on, and if anyone else wants to pick it up and finish it, you're free to do so, sort of thing, which is cool to see.
It's really nice to see that.
And then also
I guess that the last buying them together is a lot more work than they thought it was going to be. That's almost always the case.
Yep. And then next we have Silent Patch for Grand Theft Auto has gone open source. As well as doing an update for all 3 GTA games that adds a bunch of more bug fixes. Just cool to see. Basically said, I didn't realize that half a decade had passed between the Corona update and this post. So if there's any indicator, it's likely they'll... he's saying, will there ever be another Silent Patch for the GTA games? He's unaware. I'm acutely aware I've said no more fixes at least twice throughout the lifespan of Silent Patch for San Andreas, so you never know. So he's basically saying this might be the final update, but I'm not like 100% ruling out working on Silent Patch again. But it's open source now, so you can make your own
It's not.
commits and change
Yeah.
the code.
I think don't want to deal with the project anymore, sort of thing. But they might come back to it.
Gaming handheld news. We have the junk store. I was telling you about this because I was saying, like, we were talking about GOG in one of the previous podcasts, and I was like, there's no really easy way to install GOG games on Steam Big Picture Mode, which is why I prefer to get games on Steam. And Junk Store is an app I've been using now. I've installed it on my Steam Deck through Decky plugin, and it's really good. It essentially allows you to install Epic games through your game mode on your Steam Deck and play them entirely through the Steam game mode system, and it makes it really easy to do. It's really, really good. There is GOG support, but the GOG support is a beta version that is available through, I think, their Patreon. So I haven't been able to test the GOG implementation of natively installing and playing GOG games through the Steam Deck gaming mode, which I think would be really, really nice to see. But they had initially, when this article was posting, they were going to make Junk Store a software store page that you could purchase on Steam in order to have it as like a Steam app sort of thing. And they made the store page, and they were like, well, this special new release just for the Steam Deck seems to indicate that Valve are open to having Steam Deck plugins available directly like this. Especially nice for all the people claiming free games or buying Epic Games Store and GOG. It will not be free and open source like the Decky plugin. Due to work involved in rewriting for a Steam release, a price has not been decided on yet as they gauge interest.
And also to maintain it as well.
Yeah, however, the existing plugin will remain, and the developers said they plan to keep expanding and hopefully add more support for the store. That is if Valve do actually give the true nod of approval to the Junk Store developers. But, so the store page was up. They were like, oh, it seems like Valve will allow us to make an app on the Steam Store that is essentially there to just allow you to install games from other stores.
That's really
cool. Update, it seems like Valve has disallowed the Steam Junk Store coming as a Steam Store, but it's not the reason you think it is. It's not because it allows competing stores on Steam, although I think there might specifically be rules against this. They've said this is no longer allowed because it edits Steam code, which is not something they allow for any app on Steam.
Right. But it sounds like they need to make the API accessible so that they allow some sort of interconnection with external.
Our goal is to allow as many products as possible to ship on Steam, but Junk Store includes features that Steam does not support. Specifically, Steam does not officially support applications that modify the Steam client code, behavior, or interface, as they have the potential to be harmful to players and the community. We understand that your goal is to help players and make their experience on Steam better, but we have to consider the full potential impact of that. Let us know if you have any other questions, Steam support. So they've basically said, look, we're not against the idea of this, it feels like, but we can't allow an app on Steam that edits the Steam client code because it could be used maliciously.
Yeah, I understand that, but I don't think anyone's asking Valve to open the floodgates to everyone to do that. It's just like this one exception, but I guess they can't trust this external thing. Or at least have, I don't know. I just say have a warning, like this.
Yeah, it seems like at the moment, like they're just being like, look, as a third-party plugin, we don't, because like the third-party plugin is editing Steam code in Linux and stuff, and it's making changes to it. And Valve hasn't gone after and been like trying to shut down the mod. But they're saying, look, if you want to launch as an official app on the Steam Store, there are completely different rules that you have to follow. And we can't allow this because of this. I think it's reasonable. what Valve is
Also,
saying, basically.
is the plugin that difficult to get running though? Like, is it that much
No,
harder than?
Decky plugin you download from GitHub, or you can even
Yeah,
download
and to be
it
clear,
from
downloading from GitHub
Emideck.
on a Linux is a lot easier.
You essentially go to the GitHub page on your Steam Deck and you hit download, and then you
Yeah,
basically install it, and it's done. I think it's recommended you
yeah,
restart your Steam Deck, and then yeah, it's up and set, and it's very, very simple.
and it and normally you can update from like the GitHub page itself. You set it
Yep.
up in a certain way. So
Oh, you can update it from gaming mode.
yeah,
You just click on the app, and it will update it from there. You don't have to go
oh,
out of game mode.
yeah, that's even easier. Yeah, 100%.
We have a brand new Steam Deck OS release called the brand new stable update called 3.6.19, and this is a really big update because it has improved the battery life of the Steam Deck LCD by up to 10%
Nice.
in light load situations. So basically, they did a bunch of improvements to battery life on the OLED version of the Steam Deck, and they were like, wait a minute, we can edit some of the BIOS like OS stuff, and we can just
It
uh,
some learnings they had from
yeah, they were like, well,
yeah.
the LCD is using too much power here for no reason. We could just, make these improvements and get more battery life out of the LCD Steam Deck, which is really, really cool to see. There's also an update to the official dock, which adds support for HDMI CEC features, including TV remote input, TV wake up, and TV input switching. So, as somebody who has
Okay.
their Steam Deck docked to a TV, this is really useful because it
Yeah,
means I can
yeah.
basically use I can use like a controller of the Steam Deck to just turn my television on. It'll switch to the right input, and it'll be like, all right, I'm now using my Steam Deck immediately without having to use a bunch of different controllers, which is awesome to see.
Yeah, that's great.
They've
Making
updated
it more of
yeah.
platform, like a party platform.
They updated the graphics driver to Mesa 24.1, improved responsiveness of the UI, improved performance stability of memory, improved cold boot time. There's just a bunch of really. This is also the patch that adds support for the ROG Ally, the Asus ROG
Oh, is
Ikari
that yeah?
controller. Yeah,
You can sort out other stuff.
but yeah, really, really good update, and it's nice to see that they're like, we could slightly improve the LCD Steam Deck. Why don't we just do that?
Yeah,
Which is cool to see.
it's good to see they're still supporting it. Yeah.
Let's move on to Steam news. Oh, Valve fixed a 17-year-old Team Fortress 2 bug, which made the Blue Scouts pants grey instead of like a navy. I don't know if you saw about. They were like, oh
What?
yeah,
No, I did not see this.
the Blue Scouts trousers have always supposed to be like a more of a navy blue color, but because of a bug, they've been like more of like this gray color, like brownie
Right.
gray color.
So it's meant to be navy blue, but it's like more of a brownie grey, like a
Yeah,
beige.
but so like I said before, there's like one contractor at Valve who just works on like
Yeah.
fixing random bugs for like TF2 and stuff. He was like, "Oh, this is a bug I can fix." I love that this has been a bug for 17 years, but nobody noticed. And they were like, "Oh shit! Wait, this guy's pants aren't supposed to be this color. This is a bug, not a feature."
Is it just
But
like
it's
pulling the wrong texture or the wrong color file or something?
but it's like in explainer video. All classes in TF2 have brown pants on the red team and navy pants on the blue team, except the scout who had the same color on either side. And in the Photoshop files for the Blue Scouts texture, his correct pants are present on their own as a separate layer. Valve artists presumably just forgot to enable their visibility when exporting the textures into the game. But they basically implemented this fix, and then immediately a bunch of cosmetics were completely broken as a result of fixing this. So the next day they reversed it.
So weird.
So for
So
one
what
day,
cosmetics were broken? They didn't like show.
I don't know the specifics. I just heard about it,
Okay.
but I know that
I mean, cosmetics are pretty big, so they're not working. Yeah.
well, Public explosion, the Navy plant clashing, corpse carrier cosmetic. Most of this seems to be in good fun. Was this one that was causing an issue? I don't know. But anyway, yeah. What was I saying? Yeah, it's funny that they fixed a 17-year-old bug they hadn't noticed of like a Photoshop file, and they were like, "Oh shit, this breaks the game. Let's revert it the next day."
Yeah.
I wonder if they're gonna go, "Okay, let's try and like properly fix this." But this is just so Valve. It's very funny.
Yeah.
Then we also have
Maybe one day.
Steam VR 2.8 is now available, and this is really cool because it now allows hand tracking pass through in Steam Link and through Steam. So you will be able to do hand tracking with a MetaQuest 3 in Steam VR. So I'll be able to.
That's huge. Okay.
So if like you know how like Half-Life Alyx has hand tracking, if I'm playing on the MetaQuest with the hand tracking the MetaQuest, that hand tracking will be passed through the Steam Link into Half-Life Alyx, and I'll be able to play games that have like only hand tracking input, like Maestro, like the Conductor game and stuff like that with hand tracking, which is really cool to see.
Yeah.
That Valve has added like a translation layer to this. So this update does not introduce full hand tracking support for Steam VR's UI. It does allow for hand tracking in a limited way using input bindings, so users can experiment with it in games by creating a binding for that game and mapping various inputs from Meta's hand tracking to game inputs using the binding UI and controller setting. Please note that if you have hand tracking enabled on your headset and tap your controllers together, it will start hand tracking. If you experience difficulty with hand tracking, you must turn it off in your MetaQuest settings by disabling hand and body tracking. It's cool that Valve has been like, look, we haven't done any VR stuff ourselves in a while. Let's just like make the MetaQuest stuff really easy to use on Steam and Steam VR, which is cool to see.
How long has it been since they've done a VR stuff?
The 2020? When did...
yeah.
2020 is when Half-Life Alyx came out, and I think that coincides with the Index launch. Index release date. So look. The Index came out in 2019, so yeah, 2019. So it's been like 5 years since they've done VR stuff. So I remember Half-Life Alyx coming out in March of 2020, and I said, I think this is going to get delayed. And then COVID started popping off, and it still didn't get delayed. And I was like, this is insane for Valve. Let's move on. Ubisoft responds to report Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown development team has been disbanded. We know players have a love for this brand. So Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown did not launch day one on Steam. It has been called one of the best Metroidvanias released this year. Seems like a really, really good game, highly praised by critics. They refused to launch on Steam for 6 months. They have no Steam Cloud saves, no Steam achievements on the Steam version. The team was like, can we make a sequel to this? It was refused for a well-reviewed, interesting game made at Ubisoft. Go figure. And reportedly, the team that made this has been completely split up into a Rayman remake called Project Steambot, the next Ghost Recon title, and people working on Beyond Good and Evil 2, which feels like the graveyard at this. It's like when you did it, Ubisoft don't want to see you again. They're like, go work on Beyond Good and Evil 2. You won't see the light of day again.
None of your work will ever be seen.
But yeah, apparently, because I think it sold like probably 1 million copies, right? But it's like, nah, that's not enough for us.
Well, there probably is a break-even amount, but it's like they didn't help themselves in the way they marketed it or...
Yeah, according to sources, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown sold 1 million copies during the past 9 months, which are not bad sales, but Ubisoft have been like, that's way below our expectations. Like, because you think about it, like Balatro sold 1 million copies within like a month, and that was from an indie game. So there's like no overhead for like the like a huge development artist team.
But there's still a big open question when they say it's below expectation. Do they mean it hasn't broken even for like involving all the payment of like because like a lot of the software development is like paying like job payments like the people, right? Are they saying it hasn't met that criteria, or are they just saying it's not high enough for like our stocks to go up? Like I'm never too sure what they mean when they say that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Um,
Because it might still be profitable, but not as profitable as they thought, or is it below the profit point and it hasn't made its money back? Like we don't know.
we've seen this
The
before.
way
Like
they say it,
Square Enix released like Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's like critics love this game, and then Square Enix is like, yeah, this game's dog, get rid of it.
yeah,
So I don't know. That's like a lot of people have been saying. Like I think the Larian is saying like if you release this game on Steam day one, it would have sold like hotcakes, but you decided that it was worth it to try and make more money by releasing it on Epic and Uplay for 6 months.
yeah.
So yeah, I think that is
So
there is truth to
if
that.
that's the decision not working, yeah.
When this game was coming out, I was like, if this game was on Game Pass, I would play it immediately. Like if they could have got a Game Pass deal, that would have been nuts as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also had a Microsoft Partner Showcase that came out. This is the main news topics. Let's talk about this. One of the big releases was Subnautica 2 is getting a release, and it is coming to PC, Xbox, and it's also coming to Game Pass next year, 2025. It will be in early access, but the big announcement about this game is it will be getting multiplayer. Famously, the first two games were designed as single-player and single-player only games, whereas this game is being designed from the ground up from multiplayer. So Subnautica is one of my favorite survival crafting games of all time. I think it's really, really well made, like atmospheric, genuinely like gorgeous and also terrifying at times game. Really, really fun. And excited. I haven't played the below zero, Sub-Zero one, the ice one. But I've heard mixed things about that. So we'll have to see if they get on their feet for this game. This is like a purely cinematic trailer, so we know like next to nothing about how the actual gameplay will be. Yeah. So yeah, then the Steam page is up now. So we do have some in-game screenshots. Looks like you've got. Is it potentially like, you have like that giant jet scooter thing you ride? It seems like you just have small versions of those on your hands to make you go really fast. Oh, this creature here looks fucking terrifying. Horror is back on the menu, boys.
Oh yeah.
Which is cool. Chronos: The New Dawn. We have a new game announcement. It's a new IP third-person survival horror game made by Bloober Team, who is just made the really successful Silent Hill 2 remake. And this looks really cool. Tony, you've heard of Pyramid Head. Have you heard of Sphere Head?
No.
This is a game about Sphere Head. I have no idea what's going on in this game, but it looks like it could be pretty fun. Looks like a interesting survival horror game, I guess. Not too much to say about it until we see more about it. Mouse PI for Hire got a brand new trailer, and I just want to say, like, I love that Steamboat Willie is in the public domain because this game looks really fucking cool. And it still looks really good. We've talked about this game before on the podcast, but I still think that it's cool to see like more of the gameplay, and I'm excited to try this one out. But yeah, it's taking that real like, would you call it like Cuphead aesthetic at this point? Like that idea of like
I think
classic,
a lot of people know of Cuphead, so yeah.
Like old school animation.
Yeah,
using like 2D sprites for enemies.
Style.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think just old school animation might be a good way to put it.
The top comment is, "Oh yeah, I'm getting this." You'd love to see that. Next up, we have Wheel World, which I was unsure about. It is a more of an open world cycling game that looked pretty fun. Like there was like the skull thing, and it looked like there was more going on than just being like a straight. I like cycling stuff, so I thought it looked pretty interesting.
Discovering stuff while cycling.
Yeah. The only problem I had was it looked like the game was stuttering or dropping FPS constantly in the trailer, which I'm hoping is like a transcoding issue of like the actual video stream. Because if this happens in like actual gameplay, that would be awful. Like in terms of like a movement-based game, you just want really smooth movement and gameplay the entire time.
Or the very least consistency. You don't want it to jump around.
But yeah, a game about like riding around and doing tricks and customizing a bicycle could be really fun. So interesting to see more about Wheel World. I'm in the Wheel World. And then
That's pretty cool.
Finally, we have FBC Firebreak, which is a game set inside of the control office area, basically. I don't know anything about like the worlds of like Control and Alan Wake because I haven't played them yet.
I believe in Control is eventually like the supernatural offices of like
it's X-Files.
Like the FBI. Yeah.
But it's basically like it's in that universe, but it's a 3-player co-op shooter from Remedy, which is going to be really interesting to see what they do with this. Because this could be either really interesting or really boring, based on it being a 3-person.
It's going to look good regardless.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Oh, I like that you have that thing that it's like a thumper that pushes you up into the ground. But can also like a lot of the weapon design and enemy design looks really interesting.
They always, I always try to get interesting weapon stuff. Don't
is that a gnome launcher? That is sick.
Oh, is that what that was? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we have to wait. Like some of my favorite like co-op games are like Left 4 Dead, but that's like the bar when it comes to like co-op shooter co-op games. So we have to wait and see.
I mean, Vermintide 2 is a lot of fun.
Vermintide 2 is really good.
World War Z, like where do you rate that on the?
I like World War Z. I like Payday 2. Best co-op game. I like Deep Rock Galactic.
Oh yeah.
Helldivers 2 is good.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are sort of the bigger ones.
You know what? There's quite a few of them these days. Like we've got quite a bit of variety. We
got the And Everything In Between podcast. Check us out, youtube.com at Everything In Between podcasts to watch us on YouTube. Twitch.tv/Scorn if you want to watch live, and shows.cast.com/everything-in-between-podcast. There'll be links to Spotify and the Apple Podcast version if you want to listen to the audio version of the podcast. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.